Are you following fitness advice that is stopping you from getting good progress to your body? There's a very strong chance that you actually are. I've noticed that the majority of people struggle to get in shape because they don't follow these 3 simple steps. And once you do, you can expect results just like this. Step number 1, stick to the basics. Have you noticed recently, right, how losing fat and getting shape in general has become like so complicated for no reason? You know, you hear people talking about these scientific studies, right? And these weird exercise variations where, you know, have this 32-degree angle and lifting this 47-degree angle to get the best results. And you're just watching these videos, right? Just feeling more confused than anything else. I know exactly what that feels like because I used to watch fitness YouTube videos like every single day. You know, Jeff Nippard and all those other guys. You know, I remember always hearing them talking about these specific things like do this exercise in a 37-degree angle for best results to your arms, or, you know, eat this food exactly 31 minutes after your workout to get the best progress. And you're just watching these videos like, what? Now, don't get me wrong, they actually do give good advice, but from my personal experience, it's so overcomplicated for no reason whatsoever. And you want to know the honest truth as well, right? My body, when I was watching these videos, it looked the worst it has ever looked before. And you want to know the reason why? Because I was learning new exercises literally every single day of the week, you know, to the point that I couldn't even decide on what exercises to do. So like the majority of time when I went to the gym, right, and I wanted to do a specific workout, I couldn't even decide on what exercises to do because I knew too damn many at the same time. I was learning literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different variations of the same exercise for no reason whatsoever. So of course I was gonna struggle with results, right? Because I couldn't even do the work that was necessary. It was once I thought to myself, right, like, why am I making this harder for myself than it actually has to be? And that right there was when everything clicked for me. You know, I decided to just stick to the basics. No more complicated workouts or no more complicated diets. And from this point on, I actually started to see some good progress to my body, you know, just like in this picture right here. Now, if you want my personal help with losing fat and getting a body that you personally feel proud of, just like me in this picture right here, without complicated workouts or complicated diets, then click the first link in the description. I decided to stick to one single workout routine with no weird exercise variations in it. You know, just the basics, nothing less and nothing more. I also stopped watching daily fitness content because at that point, right, I was just learning unnecessary things that I didn't even use. You know, the only times I actually watched fitness content from this point on was when I had a question in mind and I needed an answer to it. Otherwise, I was just wasting my time. I realized the harsh truth, right? And you need to realize this as well. You don't need another video on losing fat and gaining muscle. The only thing you have to do is just take more action. You know, I had watched so much content at this point that my brain started tricking me into thinking, you know, that I was actually making progress to my body by watching these fitness videos, you know, instead of watching like a video with Mr. Beast. But in reality, right, my body still looked the same no matter what kind of videos I was watching because I didn't take enough action. So my advice to you, stop making it complicated for yourself. Focus on one single workout routine for the next couple of months and don't learn new exercises just for the sake of it, right? Besides following one single workout routine, just have your focus on doing more than you did your last workout. And let me give you an example so you know what I mean. What I mean by this is, let's say you do bench press for 10 reps, right? The next workout, you try and do 11 reps instead. I personally keep it up to 12 reps before I increase the weight. I like to keep myself between the rep range of 7 to 12. To help you along the way, I'll include a workout routine on the screen right now that you can copy to get started. Step number 2, clean up your eating habits. Now, what do I exactly mean by this? I mean that you have to make a conscious decision of what foods you're going to eat on a day-to-day basis. You already know, for example, that drinking soda and eating snacks every single day is bad for you, right? But for some reason, you're still struggling to make a change, right? That's why we have to change our approach. You know, most people, right, they can do good for about 2 or 3 weeks, but then they always go back to their old ways of eating. And can you guess why? Because they're making a drastic change way too quickly, you know, instead of easing themselves into it over a longer period of time. And I used to struggle with this so many times as well. You know, when I first started getting in shape, I had this weird mindset, right, that if I couldn't do every single thing 100% from the start, that I was a complete failure. But both you and me know that is completely unrealistic, especially when you're just a beginner. It was once I decided to change my approach, from seeing it like a temporary diet to more so just like a new lifestyle that I was going to follow, that I actually started to see good progress to my body, but also my weight at the same time. Here's the thing, right? And I need you to understand this. You can't rush the process because it would only overwhelm you more than anything else. And I know you're thinking right now, but if I just go hard from the start, right, I will get so much faster results. Come on, seriously? Let me ask you this question then. Why are you in a hurry? Do you want to enjoy life, meanwhile making good progress to your body? Or do you want to be miserable for the next 12 weeks for the sake of faster results? Come on, be honest with yourself. You already know the answer, right? Do you want me to tell you a secret? The majority of people who go on these 12-week intense diets, right? Can you just guess what actually happens to them once they're done with the 12-week diet? Almost every single one of them, they go back to their old ways of eating again. And the weight that they lost during the diet, right? It's slowly coming back again, just like it was before, because you're just not doing something that's actually sustainable in the long run. Once you start approaching it like a new lifestyle instead of a temporary diet, trust me, that's when you see some really good results. Now, you heard me mention a new lifestyle so many times, but what does it actually mean? What I mean is that you do something that is sustainable but enjoyable for the long run. You slowly replace your bad habits and replace them with good ones over time, so you can actually stay consistent during the whole process. Now, doesn't it sound so obvious, when I keep talking about it? Why not make it something that you personally enjoy, so you can do it for the rest of your life in one way or another? This right here is the real secret to actually getting good results. You have to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to be consistent, and the consistency is what you need to get the results. Now, I personally try to keep this as simple as possible because I noticed that is the easiest way for me to stay consistent. When it comes to what foods to eat, I like to vary between having chicken, beef, or fish combined with rice or potatoes in some form. Now, there are literally hundreds of ways to prepare these ingredients so they taste good every single time. You just have to experiment for yourself and see which recipes you like. When it comes to snacking and enjoying yourself, you just go for the healthier options instead. Instead of me having a bag of chips and chocolate, I decide to have fruit and some popcorn instead. If I crave soda or juice, for example, I just go for the sugar-free version instead. And by doing it this way, I can still enjoy myself without feeling guilty about it. Making small changes like this over a longer period of time, this is the key to making a healthy lifestyle for yourself that you can actually stay consistent with because you're enjoying what you're doing. Step number 3, stay persistent. Now listen, the truth is, right, that you won't get the results that you want in just a couple of weeks. Then I would just be lying to you. Most likely, you're gonna need a couple of months. But I got a hack for you that you can use. What stopped me personally from getting overwhelmed, by this bigger goal that you have, is by only focusing on one single day at a time. Just focus on doing the right things today, and that's all that matters. You don't think about what you need to do tomorrow before tomorrow actually happens. Let me ask you this question. Is it going to be easier for you to stay persistent if you know that you need to do it for 100 days? Or that you just focus on one day at a time, and eventually the 100 days will be completed. The 100 days are gonna pass anyway, right? So the better approach is to break it down into smaller steps. By doing it this way, it actually seems achievable, instead of this massive thing that's only gonna make you anxious more than anything else. Once you follow this approach instead, one day at a time, I promise you that the time will literally fly by faster than you can think. And before you even know it, your body will look completely different from when you first started because you didn't even notice that the months have passed. Now, if you still struggle to lose belly fat and want a more detailed approach that I personally used myself, then click and watch this video next.